Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of the Campbell Chronicles. Again, today we have joining us my brother Kyle Campbell.
Hello everyone, it's been a long time.
A couple weeks ago we had him on our show talking about the D23, the things that we were most excited for. If you want to see him in that episode, click the link above. It was a great episode. We talked a lot about everything that came out with the new, what we're most excited for coming out with the new D23 Expo. So go check that out. We talked a lot about Star Wars, a lot about parks, cruise lines, Marvel, Disney Plus. So if you're interested in any of those things, go check it out. Kyle, you have your own YouTube channel.
Yes, it's called Vanilla Soup. It's a variety channel. If you watched the video last time, we kind of talked about how it covers from anything Disney, anime, gaming. Gaming's kind of the focus. I stream games and I talk about new games coming out. Do story times. It really is though a variety channel.
Sure.
So there's something there for everyone.
Yeah. I jump on his channel every now and then. I like the stuff he puts out. So definitely, highly recommend go check it out. I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. He does.
That's why he said every now and then.
Well,
he's not loyal.
I travel a lot. Go check him out. He's got some good stuff for you, especially if you're in the gaming world. Today, we're coming back with a Star Wars episode. Ever since I was a little boy, I've loved Star Wars. I have to say, in the recent year and a half, ever since Last Jedi came out, my fire's been tamed a little. We talked about that last video. We're kind of split down the middle about The Last Jedi. But today we're coming to you talking about the new Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Park. I haven't had a chance to go, but Kyle has. And so that's why I asked him to join us today, because I'm going to interview him. I'm going to ask you some questions to see if you can help us out, understand really what this new land, this new Galaxy's Edge, Black Spire Outpost is all about. Before we get started today, guys, don't forget to give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below. What do you think about this new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Have you been? Have you been to the one in Disneyland or now the new Disney World? Or have you been to either of them? What do you think? Let us know. It looks fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Aesthetically. Yeah. Their whole goal and mission was to mentally transport you to another world. Do you think they succeeded in this?
Oh, absolutely. I was being accompanied by a couple of my friends that work in the park, and so they kind of knew where to take me. And I got not really necessarily behind the scenes.
Were these cast members?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
Yeah, they knew the ins and outs. They didn't really, obviously they can't show me everything, but they kind of directed me in the right places to go. But they wanted me to experience it at first, like any other fan would experience it. And so we're walking down the trail to get to the Black Spire Outpost, and I'm just thinking, where is this thing? I can't see it from anywhere. And so we're just turning around this corner, and boom, you're in it. And you look behind you, and you can't see Disneyland. It takes you to a completely new world. It's not like the other parks where you can still see the castle. It's just over this nice, I don't know necessarily if you call it a hill, but the bend of the terrain, and then the way they built the geoscaped area with trees and everything. You look out and you don't know Disneyland is there. And when you are in Disneyland, you can't see. I mean, I'm sure if you tried, there's some certain spots where you could pick it and find it. But if you're just minding your own business, doing your thing, you're not going to see it naturally.
Aesthetically, though, you're saying it's like what you wanted.
Yeah, everything. Like I remember walking into the outpost itself, just amazed at like how the architecture is exactly from the movies and the universe.
Everything you thought it would be. I can't even believe I'm not going to ask you this, but because it's Disney, they really go above and beyond. But was there anything that, as far as aesthetics, that you weren't? Except maybe anything looked cheap or maybe out of place or anything like that?
No, even like the props and everything they had, the figures you could buy, the toys, they all looked like they were something that you'd find in the Star Wars universe. The toys that they sell are made by Jawas. The characters you meet all have a specific name and role within the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It's not like everywhere else in the park where they're a Disneyland cast member and that's it. They belong in the Star Wars universe in Black Spire
Like an
Outpost.
actor,
Yeah.
more or less? Okay.
Yeah.
You bring me to one of my other questions. I was going to ask you about the merchandise, and you brought something to show us. This is kind of cool, a little souvenir that he brought home.
So for those of you who haven't been to the park or seen what it looks like from videos or such, this is the Millennium Falcon that you would see when you come into the park. The ride takes place right in here.
From what I understand, the Millennium Falcon in the park is 1-to-1 scale, right? It's the real deal, life size.
Yeah, and when you get a chance to go inside of it, it's a really cool opportunity to kind of pretend you're in the movies, and everything is you can get lost almost because the way they do the corridors in while you're waiting in line to get in, and there's a bunch of offshooting paths that we were almost invited to explore. One experience I had is my friend and I, when we were getting off of the Millennium Falcon ride, we were like, hey, let's just have some fun. Let's go. Everyone's exiting us to the left, and we're like, let's go to the right. Let's see what the right happens. And some cast members, they just ask us for our clearance and our identification. Like, hey, you know, you're not supposed to.
Docs.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here. And so it wasn't like a hey, get lost, kid. It was more of a, we know you're just curious, and we're gonna play with you because it's supposed to be an entertaining experience.
That's one thing I love about Disney is they're never gonna make it seem like they'll do things in the best way possible. So.
Yeah, I think something to testify that too is when we were in line ready to get on the ride, a lady was in her scooter, and there was two lines, one for those who had special needs or anything like that she was in. And then the line to regularly dock for those of you who were able just to dock by yourself. The lady in the handicap line needed to have some assistance getting her scooter from one side to the other side. And it was really cool to see the employee from the one line walk over to the employee in our line, the cast member, and say, hey, I'm going to go take this land speeder down onto the other side. They didn't use Earth terms. They used real cool terms. And I can't imagine how... Like, I got to see the lady a little bit after that, how she was, she laughed at it, of course, but I can't imagine how she felt throughout the rest of the day just to feel like, hey, they made an extra effort just to make a comment that was really sweet and endearing.
Yeah. In another life, I probably would work at Disney, to be honest, because I'm that passionate about it, and those kind of stories just make me want to just go work there.
Yeah.
You experience that stuff all the time, and then, sharing Walt's vision of the true Disney, things like that. That's those stories are not uncommon. So
yeah,
we talked about the aesthetics. We talked a little bit about the Smuggler's Run just in passing. But as you were going into the park, what was your favorite thing?
My favorite thing out of the whole park?
Yeah,
the Stormtroopers.
The Stormtroopers.
Yeah,
okay.
The Stormtroopers were amazing. The cast members behind that just knew exactly what to say at all times. It was truly amazing experience just to stand and watch them. They'd ask. One of the things that I really liked is there was a group of teenagers on their phone standing next to the blue milk line, and the Stormtroopers came up and were like looking over their shoulders, asking them, "Hey, do you have clearance for those data pads? Do you, it's so great. Like, hope you're not sharing those images with the Resistance." And there's really cool one-liners, cool. and they would harass people. There was a couple walking together holding hands, and one of them said, "Hey, remember to keep that professional, civilians." And it was just
that's funny.
It was a great
typical
time.
First Order.
Yeah.
So their favorite Stormtrooper. That's pretty cool, and I find that interesting. It's not an attraction. Well, the attractions I'm sure are absolutely amazing. We'll get to those in a second. Your favorite was a Stormtrooper.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you wanted to take a picture with them, they would pose and they would help you and do you a solid there. But they would always say like something witty, like make sure you're not posting that to anything the Resistance might get a hold of, or that's sensitive material. Yeah. I might be embarrassed or something. It was funny stuff.
That's one of the things you guys know I love about Disney is in immersive environments, getting fully immersed, role play. Mm-hmm. I love doing that with characters. So. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the attractions, they only had one open when we were there, the Smuggler's Run with Hondo.
Yeah.
Without giving anything away, how was it?
It was a great experience. I think I definitely want to ride it again with, more people that I went with. The way they were trying to do the lines, it's a new ride. So they're trying to keep the lines really as fast as possible.
Sure.
And we had a large group, so we got split up into several parties actually. Mm-hmm. And part of it we did say we're okay with that. Like we wanted to help the line progress. So there was only 2 of us in the ride that I went with, so they can accommodate more groups per ride. And I'm just gonna say something. Of course, it's for the family experience. Of course, it's for something. It's for the whole family to enjoy. And that's if you're an older kid like me or a younger kid that's 7, 8 years old. The game or the ride though is a game, and you can lose and you can win. We unfortunately barely won with a lot of damage on the Falcon, and we only made it out with one load of the coaxium that we were trying to get.
Okay.
And my other friends came out of their ride and say, "Oh, we got all of them. We rocked it." And meanwhile, I'm in my ride clinching for my life because the kid piloting the Millennium Falcon is crashing it everywhere. And it made me laugh. It was enjoyable. I'm not saying that it wasn't fun. I was cheering him on the whole way. I hope I'm not coming across that way. But I would like to experience it with a bunch of people that really want to succeed.
Yeah. Just do well.
Yeah.
Fly the Falcon the way Han Solo and Chewie did.
Yeah. You know, breaking off the satellite and stuff.
That was Lando.
I guess that's true.
Not like Lando. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Any thoughts, any hopes out of the new ride, the Rise of the Resistance?
If I were to have only really one hope, is that it is as equally as enjoyable. I know this sounds really vague, but with the technology involved, the Smuggler's Run just made rides and attractions. You have to step up if you're going to survive in competition. And I know we've talked about before on your other video how the technology going into this ride is supposedly amazing, and I'm excited for that. But the ride has to be fun too. It can't just be technology.
Yeah, some things, I've seen some recent photos put out there for this new ride, and honestly, if I'm to gather my own opinion on what it's probably going to be like, is I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the videos of the Pirates of the Caribbean over, is it Shanghai? The Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's an immersive environment. You're in water, you're in a boat, but you're going through massive screens, these real life props. From what I've seen, it's kind of like that.
Oh,
there are real props mixed in with some amazing effects.
Yeah.
So
and they have animatronic stormtroopers that are going to be able to be marching throughout the ride. It's going to be wild.
That's crazy. The animatronics these days, Hondo, just watching Hondo on the Smuggler's Run, that animatronic is amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of go over in the world of Avatar in Pandora, where they have, you know, on the river ride, you have the really just fluid animatronics these days. You can hardly tell it's an animatronic.
Yeah.
And they have photos of these sneak peeks they do with this new Star Wars ride, where you're in a large hangar room, I think, and you have like 50 stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's 50 huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then to have all in the one room, maybe they're all moving, maybe only some, I don't know, but they're apparently in formation. That just looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
It really does. So you were there for one day?
Yeah.
Is one day enough?
If you were just doing Star Wars, I would say so. Like it's enough for what they offer. It's not a terribly big place. Now there were a couple things, both for financial reasons and time restraints, we didn't get to do. Like we didn't get to build droids, we didn't get to build our own lightsabers, and apparently that does take about an hour each.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And so I would say, like, if you're trying to do everything, 2 days for sure, but you know, with time restraint.
2 days in the Star Wars land?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're trying to do everything.
Because, from what I understand, it's huge. Like, they have so much to do. They have, like, a phone activity, right? Where you can take your phone around and scan and get the environment to interact with you.
As far as I'm aware, that was still being created. Maybe just not something that I was aware of, but I had heard about it, but didn't get to participate in.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot to do.
Yeah. I mean, and there's lots to enjoy too. If you want to just sit in the cantina, that was probably one of my favorite things as well, aside from the stormtroopers, is sitting in the cantina. There's no time restraint. Once you have your reservation, they don't really ask you to leave, as long as you're being respectful, I guess. But
sure.
It is a cantina in the Black Spire Outpost where there's scum and villainy around. So the characters that were serving us and stuff, they were obviously in character, and our bartender was a little bit of a jerk, so there was a lot
That's
of things
funny.
like that where you can just sit and enjoy the environment and enjoy what's going around you. The biggest negative, I guess I would say about it, though, is that there's only one ride, like one real ride right now, and there's going to be another one for sure. We just talked about that, but there's not enough attractions on that side. Black Spire Outpost is more of a glorified mall in a way, where you get to shop and experience cool things, but the ride is almost, to me, it's kind of an afterthought. It's still great, still awesome, but it is kind of like it's the B factor. It's not the main reason you go.
Personally, I like those. I like the immersive environments. Yeah, they're going to make some money. There's over, 700 pieces of merchandise you can choose to purchase. Yeah. But I like getting in that immersive environment. I like quality rather than quantity. So having only 2 rides, that's fine to me.
Yeah. and they're
fine.
great rides. It's not like in other parts of the park where you say, well, I like Peter Pan, but not really a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland.
Sure, right.
Like both rides are absolute bangers.
Yeah.
They're great.
So before we get too far off,
the second one will be, I'm sure. I can't speak to the second one yet.
Before we get too far away from the cantina, you brought with you a little menu. This menu is pretty cool. It's like a thick, I don't know if I'd call it parchment. Or not parchment. I don't know what I'd call it.
Canvas, almost.
Canvas paper.
Yeah.
Cool things. You got your blue milk, your
Yeah.
green milk.
Yeah, my blue milk came in this fancy dancy porg glass.
Porgs. Anyways, yeah, no, I mean, you just look at the detail, and this is not your just standard paper. Okay, this is not your standard mug.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. You can tell it's got quality to it.
Yeah.
And so when you're out there, you're seeing these prices on the menu. You're like, oh my gosh, why is it so much?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you get to take these home, okay, and then you get to try new things. Obviously, which is the one that was sold out?
The sold out one was the one I wanted the most, the Rancor teeth.
The Rancor teeth. You got to take that whole tray home with you.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're just paying for the food. You're actually paying for the food and a souvenir in the process.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
And it's kind of sad, though, because I had a whole plan on how I was going to get those Rancor teeth. I don't drink personally, and that's an alcoholic beverage. And so one of my friends I was with is like, hey, if we split this 50-50, you can keep the teeth and I'll drink the alcohol. And
That was
like,
awesome.
Great. And so we ordered it. And like I said earlier, the bartender was kind of a jerk. And so we say, hey, can we get, an order of Rancor teeth? And he said, well, you're going to be waiting a while. And I'm like, well, I mean, what do you mean? It's right here on the menu. And he went on about how, like, scalpers these days, if you want it now, you'll have to pay a pretty penny and stuff. There's really interesting dialogue there, but it was sad that the one thing I really wanted from the cantina wasn't available.
Just sold out?
Yeah, and apparently they're not going to be in stock again until September.
Oh, geez.
So, coming up here soon. And it's kind of wild to think about how Disney would sell out of something, but hey, they didn't even know how big that was going to be. It's an expensive item. I think it was like, I have the price right here, $75 for the Rancor teeth.
And it's 5 drinks with it?
4
drinks. Yeah. $75. You get the tray, you get the teeth. If you're not sure what a Rancor is, just watch Return of the Jedi with the big old monster that almost eats Luke. So.
Yeah. Well, in all the drinks, too, they had some kind of element that made them otherworldly, too. I didn't get one, but a lot of the people got this one where it was, there was these, I forget what they're called, but they're these, like, little marble-looking...
like those Starburst kind of burst in your mouth gusher liquid thing? Yeah.
They were popping at the bottom and causing the whole drink to just kind of explode. Yeah,
cool.
It was like a foot above the glass where there's just smoke coming off while you're drinking it, and it's really cool. This one was like a coconut... tropical flavor. The blue milk came in a glass with a cookie. And there was other drinks that had like this otherworldly element to it, like glows in the dark or something like that. Really cool technology put into their food, and that's amazing.
That's cool. So, out of all the snacks and drinks you had, what one was your favorite?
Oh, the blue milk was my favorite. Milk?
Yeah. For nostalgic purposes, or did you actually enjoy it?
I would say, I mean, obviously I actually enjoyed it. I got a big jug too for the Bantha Blue Milk Company. And that was pricey as well, but totally worth it because, I got this giant blue milk carton. And,
that's cool.
They have green milk too, and that was good. And I did a taste test, and this is exactly what blue milk would taste like. Yeah, this is something that you don't know what it tastes like until you taste it, and then you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought it would taste like.
That's funny. That's cool.
I didn't get to try a lot of like the exotic foods that they had, just because I already had spent a bunch of money in the cantina.
Right.
But man, there was a lot of cool, interesting foods that you could try there too.
Nice. Another question I have: did you have the Max Pass?
Yes.
Did you take advantage of the photography that was around the park?
Yes and no, not like the entrance and not like the photographers that were around the park, just because it was easier just to get a group photo.
Sure.
Just to you have a phone in your pocket with the camera. It's easier if you want to get a picture in front of the castle, just to say, hey, stranger, can you take a picture of us real quick? Of course, if you get the photography, you get, the better lens, you get the better photography. But if you're just looking for journalistic purposes,
if you just want to click, let's go.
Yeah, but I will say, getting the picture after every ride, that was awesome.
Okay.
Getting, them directly to your phone, that was another great thing.
Yeah.
Being able to sign up for a fast pass when I'm across the park, That was great.
So yeah, if you want to check, I do have a video on the Max Pass. Click on that link above. We talk about whether the Max Pass is worth it. What I really want to know is it does it really come in handy for Star Wars Land?
Not right now, just because everything is so new. There wasn't a fast pass line for the Smuggler's Run.
Really?
There wasn't anything that would help you.
Was there a queue built in? Will there be?
I assume so. It was kind of hard to tell because, like I said, the line comes out of this little area here. But once you're in this part right here with all the architecture, you get lost really fast. And there were some other things that, like other lines there that I would say, oh, that might be where they put the fast pass.
Sure. Or single rider.
Right.
Or whatever
yeah.
it may be.
Well, I mean, we went in the single rider on this side, and then the ride itself went this way. So it's not a mess, but you can easily get lost. Okay. And so it's hard for me to say if I know where the fast pass line is going to be. I'm sure, like all the other rides, they're going to do it eventually. Sure. But who knows when that's going to happen.
When you went again in?
I went in July.
In July. Yeah. So not too far away. It was a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Not very long ago. So I know they're still busy. They're still running a lot of crowds to that area.
Yeah. Well, and even when I was there, it was really nice. It wasn't... It was crowded, but not as bad as I thought it would be. And because it was new, also Disneyland itself, we went in there for a good hour or two. And that was a breeze. There were almost no lines for anything. Wow. Everyone was in Star Wars Land. But
that's what I keep hearing. It's supposed to be like empty in other parts of the park.
And Star Wars Land Black Spire Outpost is so well maintained that you barely feel like you're bumping shoulder to shoulders. The crowds are very well directed. And that's also thanks to the Stormtroopers who, jokingly, or they joke with the park goers, but they also do a really good job at saying, all right, move along, they do their thing really well, That's
good. Okay, so we talked a lot about the things that you liked, and but what are some of the things that you maybe didn't like, or maybe you can see them maybe changing in the future because they know maybe they didn't hit that on the head?
As far as didn't like, I would definitely say just the outage of certain items. Like we talked about the Rancor teeth. That was a shame that was out of or that was just unavailable.
Yeah, it's a $75 item. You were there not too long after they opened.
Yeah. And I was even looking at getting some replica lightsabers. Not the ones you build, but just a replica set. I was looking at the Ahsoka set, and they were sold out of the Ahsoka lightsabers. Wow. And so that's another one. I was like, well, dang, man. That's the one I kind of would have gotten. But I'm glad I didn't because that would have been a huge mistake financially. I already spent way too much money that day.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to going for my first time. We do have a family trip coming up later next year. And I've really kind of just been holding out for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to go all as a family. Kyle and I will both be there together along with other members of my family. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to experience Galaxy's Edge. Like I said at the beginning, my little 8-year-old self is just screaming to go. So I'll go. Just get there slowly but surely. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Any asks you have for the audience?
If I were to just suggest one thing when you go is just really just feel free to take your time. There are a lot of things and almost Easter egg-like things that if you were in the hustle and bustle of things, and maybe that's why I do say like 2 parks or 2 days in the park rather than one, because maybe you could, if you were hustling, get everything done, visit every shop, eat all the food, get all the drinks, create the droids you want, buy the lightsaber you want.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that all in one day, but Star Wars Land the Black Spire Outpost more specifically is something that I really do recommend taking your time, soak it in. Yeah. It's something that Disney has never been able to do before, where you really are immersed in something that's completely out of this world, pun or no pun. It's just completely out of this world.
Yeah. And I that's kind of how I like to do Disneyland anyways. I like to take my time, and if I don't get to something, that's okay. I know I'm going to get to it later. It gives me something to look forward to the next time I come. Yeah. So if I don't do everything the first time I go, that's fine. Yeah. So I don't mind spending only a day or maybe even a few hours in Star Wars Land because I know I'm going to be back.
And if there are things from the shows you like, as far as souvenirs, they have Loth Cats for purchase too.
Cool.
There's really cool toys. Like all the toys are made by Jawas, so they take place in the universe. So it's really cool to see how they approach that. And there's something for everyone. If you're a kid that has only been exposed to Star Wars through the animated TV shows, there's something there for you. Because I mean that was something that I noticed, that the family actually I rode Smuggler's Run with, they really didn't know about Han Solo. They didn't know. And so it's...
That's a sin in my book.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, the kid had a Lothcat doll with him. So it's
cool.
You know, Star Wars has such a wide-reaching grasp that there's something there for everyone.
That's really cool. Well, again, Kyle, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate you joining. We'll have to get together again and do this.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. Again, his channel is Vanilla Soup. Go check him out, Kyle Campbell. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks again for joining me today, guys. Don't forget on your way out to hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. What do you think? Have you been to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Do you like it? Do you think that there's room for improvement? Or do you think just leave it alone? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today, guys. We'll see you real soon because it's time to say goodnight.